Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into a really chilling story where the end of a relationship was just a beginning of a terrifying supernatural ordeal. But it also teaches us a lot about spotting very real danger in the real world.
It all really starts with this one threat, which translates to, "I will not leave you now." This was said to a young woman right after she rejected a man's marriage proposal. And, well, that threat? It was the start of an absolute waking nightmare.
You see, this story kicks off with a relationship that was never really about love. It was all about ego. This guy was pursuing her not because he cared for her, but because it was some kind of rivalry with another person who liked her. For him, it was just about winning, no matter what it took.
So, with their families all in agreement, she felt completely trapped. But as his abuse got worse, she knew she couldn't do it. With just 5 days to go, at the very last second, she called it off. It was a brave decision, but one that would have some truly horrifying consequences.
So let's get into it. Who exactly was this man? As things move forward, the signs of someone who is deeply, deeply toxic started showing up, and with frightening speed.
I mean, just look at how fast this all spiraled out of control. We're talking about just 3 or 4 months. In that short amount of time, the mask just completely dropped, and she saw the controlling, violent person he really was.
And this wasn't just some guy who couldn't handle rejection. He was, by his own admission, a predator. He would brag about controlling a jinn, which is a type of supernatural being, and he had this history of just extreme violence against women. He even sent her pictures of his past crimes just to intimidate her. It's just horrific.
Okay, so after she rejected him, those threats of his, the ones about supernatural revenge, they started to become devastatingly real. And not just for her, but for her entire family.
And the physical toll this took, it was just devastating. In only a few months, she lost 12 kilograms. Her health completely collapsed under what she was convinced was a spiritual attack.
You know, the whole attack felt so systematic. While her own body was failing her, this wave of pure misfortune just washed over her family. It crippled their finances, their health. It was like a strategy to completely isolate her and just plunge them all into chaos.
But here's a really strange twist. Maybe this world of supernatural attacks wasn't entirely new to her, because, as it turns out, her own family has a history of some deeply unsettling paranormal encounters, which might have made them feel, especially vulnerable to this.
So, years before any of this, her mother was 5 months pregnant and in the hospital. She woke up in the middle of the night and she wasn't alone. Standing around her bed were these tall, black, shadowy figures.
And then the figures spoke. Just that one chilling sentence. And right after that, she screamed and suffered a miscarriage that the doctors just couldn't explain medically.
Then there was another incident. The storyteller's sister kept having this recurring dream, or maybe you'd call it a vision. It involved a doppelganger of their mother, an exact but absolutely terrifying copy.
In this vision, she saw a horrifying version of her mother's face just appear in their kitchen window. But from this face, knives were coming out of its eyes and ears, and blood was just pouring from its mouth. It was pure horror.
So after hearing all of this, what are we supposed to take away from it? Well, while these supernatural stories are absolutely terrifying, they point to a danger that is so much more immediate: the real-world monsters who hide in plain sight.
And honestly, this is the most important part. The abuser in this story showed all the classic red flags of psychological and emotional abuse long before any black magic was supposedly involved. Seeing these signs, and more importantly, trusting your gut when you see them, it is absolutely critical. It leaves us with this final, really unsettling thought. Are these kinds of supernatural attacks just an extension of human cruelty, maybe a physical manifestation of psychological torment? Or are they a darker force that abusers can actually learn to command?